Okay. Hey, anyone wonder why I'm wearing my I will die mad about 2016 Hillary t-shirt?
Because you're going to die mad about Hillary in 2016?
Okay. First of all, where do we start? With what Eric Swalwell just said. So, a federal appeals court issued a secret hold that temporarily blocks the DOJ from searching the phone of Scott Perry, noted congressional insurrectionist. Yes, who was a very key part of the insurrection and trying to overturn the election. His phone was seized by the FBI in August. Okay, I'm still hearing music in my.
No, you're not.
No.
No.
Okay.
Well, you might be, but that's not us. Those are the voices.
Hang on. He's going to do something and it's going to stop. See? There we go.
Well, it's not going out over the air, and you're making a big deal out of something that
it happens all the time.
Everybody can't hear.
No one else can hear.
They're gaslighting me. See, that's what he's doing. He's just like
I heard it.
Leaving things. Thank you, Jody.
I can hear mice fart.
Thank you, Jody. Okay.
It was a very low.
Here we go. The House moved into the fray to intervene in the back and forth over letting DOJ access the phone. This is just after we're hearing how Barr and Durham blocked the Trump-Russia investigation, right? Implicated Hillary. I mean, it is. Here we go again. They're going to try to protect their own, and this is why elections matter, right? Yes. Let's see. Hope for John tweets. So the Russians did get Trump elected, and William Barr and John Durham weaponized the Justice Department to hide more of Trump's crimes and attack his political enemies. Did I get that right? Yes. You got that complete. And meanwhile, the gaslighting continues. They're having committees called the weaponization of the FBI or blah, blah, blah against them, right? When it's obviously the complete opposite. Okay. Can I go with some happy clappy news for a minute? Gulf Coast guy said, "Hey there, Mama. Turns out Mr. Pecker may be leaking after all." That was our favorite headline of the right. Trump afraid Pecker leaking was an actual headline, not a joke.
And now it is.
David Pecker might be leaking now.
I don't think he's leaking. He's testifying.
Yes, that's different.
There's a difference.
In front of a grand jury, it's not a leak.
Right. Yeah, that's
this
not
is
leaking.
testimony. This is evidence. This is testimony.
Right.
It's a big deal.
But what has happened, Jody? This is the other one. Blah, blah, blah. Hang in there, Mama. Manhattan District Attorney to present Trump hush money case to a grand jury.
About time.
What? Yes.
Like 8 years too late.
Yes. But I guess.
There might be sooner.
But it's happening.
Yeah, at least Bragg got off his butt.
Right.
When there are charges and indictments and jail time, then I'll be happy. But I'm sick of all of this.
But when it's something this important,
right.
I think Bragg has to have all of his T's crossed and all of his I's dotted before.
But I guess.
But he dropped it for 2 years.
But
the time to indict was 2 years ago when Trump got out of office. I agree. You got to dot your I's and cross your T's. But they got Michael Cohen in jail.
Was in, though.
But I guess public pressure does work to some degree, because obviously, when Mark Pomerantz's book is coming out, left who's going to. That's actually this week, I think.
We should have to shame them into doing something.
Yes, what happened inside the Manhattan. Whatever.
Transfer.
Do you sometimes lose track of which criminal investigation of Trump?
All the time. Every single
I never know which one you're talking about.
Because there's so much criming.
I never know which one you're talking
Stormy
about.
Daniels thing.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing is the National Enquirer, which is also part of the payoff, the illegal payoff.
Yeah, that's all tied together.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, this is, who was it? Will Bunch of the Philadelphia Inquirer was on Joy yesterday, but, he just wrote a piece reporting that the New York Times owes not just Hillary, all of us an apology.
Big time.
The New York Times, reporting from the New York Times that was published in 2016 during the campaign between Trump and Clinton, among the many false things the Times reported was the allegation that new emails were discovered related to Anthony Weiner's sexting case. None of that reporting was true. Joy Reid said the report sparked a lot of questions, not just about the Justice Department's decision-making, but also the FBI, because the push for that announcement was coming from the FBI's New York field office, which, according to Reuters, had a faction of investigators based in their office known to be hostile to Hillary Clinton. Bunch said at the time James Comey made the unprecedented public announcement in 2016, there was no bigger consumer of the Clinton email story than the New York Times. They ran story after story on her emails in 2016, devoting 2/3 of the great lady's front page to Comey's announcement. That followed up a few days later from another helpful piece for Trump, citing informed intelligence sources investigating Trump that the FBI saw no clear link to Russia, something that would later be proven to be untrue. Given McGonigal's charges, these stories are now being looked at in a whole new light. So obviously, Bunch is saying the same thing we're all saying.
Yeah.
That clearly McGonigal was obviously the source for these stories.
Absolutely.
But this is why we need Eric Boehlert, among many other people, to call this out. That this is the media's failing.
Yes.
They just gobbled up whatever anti-Hillary bull they possibly could find. I think, as Eric always used to say to us, everyone thought Hillary was going to win. They just thought, let's just ding her up and get a bunch of clicks and ratings.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, a key premise of that story was Putin and Russia were not trying to help Trump win the election. Well, the U.S. intelligence community, not much after that, found that's exactly what they were doing. Who was misleading the New York Times? That clearly that story hung on high-level intelligence sources, and McGonigal was basically the top spy master in the New York office. He also said it appears the FBI field office in New York was also the nexus of so much of this activity that was then leaked to the press and overplayed by the media, especially the New York Times. And polling bureaus said this absolutely was the decisive factor that swung enough votes at the last minute from Hillary. We should rethink everything we think we know about what happened in that October, what the FBI was up to. Now that we know they had this corrupt agent. And here they are screaming that oh, well, Democrats denied elections. It's like, no, we never tried to overthrow the government. And we had actually, more and more now, if this were them, they would be calling for another election or God knows what unconstitutional thing they would, right? Just last one. We now know Manafort was sharing important data from the Trump campaign, polling data, and data that could have helped Russia's internet trolls know what states to target with their internet trolling. He shared that with a suspected Russian intelligence agent who was also part of this triangle with Manafort and Deripaska. And how does this FBI agent, who's supposed to be investigating Deripaska, then end up working for him a year or two later, if that's indeed when it started? I would love to see the Times, given its role in disseminating the bad information, go back. I think they should apologize for their bad coverage, but they should also investigate how they were duped by these FBI agents and by their intelligence sources and share that with their readers. Paper of record.
But that would also it required them to admit that they were wrong, and look introspectively at themselves, which they don't seem very good at.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing, Jody, right? It's just when you think your head has already exploded.
Well, this is the radio show of record then. If the New York Times can't be the paper of record, this is the radio show of record.
Wait, do we have that kind of budget?
By the way, yes, let's go on record one more time. This is in the Hill. Time to correct the record again. Hillary Clinton did not have a single email marked classified.
Nope.
Do you feel like most people know that? Or even in the mainstream media? This is what again, Eric Boehlert would call out on a daily basis. It's just this... recently, the Hill, they write, recently pro-Trump MAGA Republicans and even many in the mainstream media have inaccurately reported that then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton transferred identifiable classified information in her emails to her private server. This is false. Indeed, former FBI Director James Comey, not exactly remembered as helpful to Clinton, confirmed this in congressional testimony on July 7, 2016. Comey testified before the House Oversight Committee. He agreed under questioning that the FBI, after reviewing individually the 33,000 Clinton emails in the spring and early summer of 2016, found only 3 emails that had any identifiable classified marking at all. Comey told Representative Matt Cartwright that only 3 emails contained a lowercase c in the middle of a paragraph.
Right.
Shortly after this hearing, the actual number was corrected from 3 to 1, and he stated that even classification experts would not recognize that little c as a classified marking.
Right.
Do you remember any of this from the 2016 coverage?
No.
Asked Cartwright. So if Secretary Clinton really were an expert at what's classified and what's not classified, and were following the classified requirements manual, the absence of a header would tell her immediately that those 3 documents were not classified. Am I correct in that? Replied Comey. That would be a reasonable inference. That's right. James Comey said under oath that not even 1 out of 33,000 Hillary Clinton emails would be recognized by a classification expert as classified. Okay, just a whole bunch of people are dead that wouldn't be, but that's okay.
Then there's that.
Gotcha.
Oh my God. Okay. Let me just finish this up. So let me get this out of my craw is very full.
Yeah.
This morning my craw is incredibly full.
You came down here, you could barely get through the door with all the stuff in your craw.
Yeah. He made this admission finally, despite more than a year in 2015-16 of multiple accusations by partisan Republicans about Clinton mishandling classified information in her email. What they're still doing now.
Yes, they are still doing now.
Tens of thousands of mainstream media mentions and running cable news chyrons about Clinton mishandling classified information in her emails while Secretary of State, from when the story broke in the Times in 2015 to Comey's improper public description of Clinton's handling of as extremely careless, which polling data proves substantially politically harmed her, through Comey's improper October 28th letter to Congress 11 days from the election announcing a new criminal investigation in violation, blah, blah, blah. We know that, longstanding DOJ. Through Comey's virtual whisper, November 6, 2016, late evening letter to Congress 2 days before the election stating, oops, no, they're there. Mm-hmm. After all this time and misreporting in the media, once again, we need a reminder that, in fact, the FBI found not one of Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails they reviewed contained any recognizable classified information marking. But where is that story? Where is that story in the light of all this reporting about classified information, right? I mean, it's...
Plus, her server was never hacked. Right. She had the safest server
Thank you.
in the country on top of it all.
Right, with all the screaming about national security, right?
She had the safest server, so... Yeah.
Is my point. You understand what I'm saying.
I totally
Wow. You've been hanging around puppies too much.
Yeah. Bonnie does that with her little underbite. You see, Bonnie does a thing where she looks like... She acts like she's going to bite you and then she kisses you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boots will do something similar. She'll like, and then... she'll gently bite the skin and then lick it.
We had another a suggestion for my 16,000 vases that I need to get rid of while Fanny's Sitka moves in.
Are you going to bedazzle them all?
That you need to take them and make them into your candles or something and call it Scent of a Woman. But I'm like, no, that defeats the whole man candle thing, I think.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.